Thanks so much for joining us. This is Jennifer Jordan. She's the recycling coordinator for the City of Iowa City. That's an interesting position. What does that entail?
Well, this time of year, it involves a lot of looking at the curbs and thinking, what can we do about this? Throughout the rest of the year, it's a little bit of everything, working with curbside recycling, our composting program with Iowa City Community Compost, the furniture project, a little bit of everything, really.
There's a lot of opportunities to divert items from the landfills, but this one is so perfect because it really is happening right at the moment where you'll be driving along and you can almost rate them. Oh, that one's that's a 10 on the junk pile scale. I mean, there's some serious piles out there.
Yeah, overwhelming, definitely, and that's kind of how this all came about, I guess. Just the city staff talking several years ago when I was interning at JCCOG actually, and just joking about all the stuff that was on the curb and what we could do about it, and started joking about a giant garage sale, and that's basically what came about.
Wow. Well, I'm glad those jokes turned into into reality. Yeah, it's aggravating to see these, these items maybe that I don't need, but I know someone else could need sitting on the curb. So what are some of your criteria for what's acceptable as a donation?
For a while, my criteria was if I would use it or not in my home, and as my home has gotten fuller because of that criteria, my standards have raised a little bit, but I know there's a lot of people out there in the community who can definitely use a lot of these items yet. Basically, if the items are in usable condition, if they're relatively clean, if they're whole is really the base one, the basic. But we get all kinds of stuff in, and a lot of it's in different conditions, and we price those according to that. So last year, one of the best items we got came in on the first day. It was essentially a brand new chaise lounge, and we had $40 on it. So that was one of the best items, I think, in 2008. In 2007, the quality of the furniture probably wasn't quite as good, so I think we'll continue to see it increasing as people pull things off the curb sooner and store it for a while beforehand so it doesn't get ruined, so it doesn't get picked through, and people aren't going through the couches for change beforehand.
Sure, with some self-designated recycling warriors out there in the community. Well, that's great. I also wondered about, the pricing on these items is so reasonable, but how did you do? What was the profits this year? Did it look good for the nonprofits?
Yeah, we actually doubled profits from 2007 to 2008.
Oh, that's great.
2007, our first year, we made right at $4,000. In 2008, we did just under $9,000. So it's the nonprofits that participated in 2008 received about a $750 check, so for a day's work, so not too bad.
That's amazing. And who are some of these nonprofits that are being benefited?
We have 12 that we worked with in 2008, and I'm actually just going to read them. The Community Mental Health Center had 2 groups, Compere and Path. Environmental advocates were involved, free lunch program, free medical clinic, 4 Oaks, Habitat for Humanity, and the Restore, and actually Restore did a couple of stints. They did a pickup as well, so this was their first year of doing collections. They were pioneers in that, as was Path through Community Mental Health. The Iowa Humane Alliance, Nest of Johnson County, United Action for Youth, and the University of Iowa got involved this year with the Environmental Coalition. So that was our first time pulling them in, and it worked really well.
Wow, that's great. So you had some student volunteers involved as well.
Yep, and they were very excited.
That's great. So there's environmental benefits, there's benefits to human services organizations. It's really a great event.
Yeah, and that's the same way we look at the furniture project, and which takes donations of furniture throughout the year. It's environmental because it's keeping things out of the landfill, and it's also the human services side. It benefits the human services side because it's getting things to people that need it at a great price.
Yeah, definitely. Are there any sponsors beside the City of Iowa City?
Yes, besides the 5 departments that within the city that work on the event, quite a few hours before and during the event. We also had 3 sponsors this year. Era Rental and Party Shop actually donated the use of 12 tables, which helped us stay way more organized than last year, so that was really helpful for us. And then Casino Property Management and the Waterfront Hy-Vee each donated $100 to help cover the cost of advertising and printing for getting the word out beforehand. So we were really appreciative of the sponsors this year, and hopefully we can add on to that next year.
Well, I think it's a worthy event. Hopefully we'll get some more sponsors out of people watching this show.
Great.
So what were some of the most interesting items that you saw this year?
We had some random things this year. I think last year was actually a little bit more random than this year. Last year we had what I thought was a composting toilet. Was very pleased to take it home to take camping for the great price of $5, and found out after I got it home it was actually a chemical toilet, so that actually ended up back at Rummage the Ramp this year. I think that one probably ended up at the landfill this year. I'm sure someone watching this will probably think, why, but no one wanted it, so it ended up there.
Sure.
Goodwill actually didn't care for it either. So some of the other strange things that we've gotten, and this year one of the coolest clothes pieces was a balloon-sleeved 1950s bright yellow knee-length dress that several young women held up and giggled and admired and put back on the shelf and walked away. So
watch, it'll be on the cover of Vogue next year, and
exactly.
they'll be like,
and it probably has been
yeah.
in the past.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Some of the other random things this year, we got a huge assortment of Queen Elizabeth memorabilia in, which was also a little disconcerting at first. But as you started looking through it, you could see that whoever brought them in was obviously, very enthralled by the Queen. So that was kind of neat. I don't think those got a lot of attention, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Wow.
So we also had a huge collection of Christmas trees and ornaments this year. So I'm thinking next year, anyone who hears this can come on up and
yeah,
get a
you
Christmas
can
tree
get your
year.
Christmas shopping done at
Yeah.
the Rummage and the Ramp this year.
We also had a huge assortment of books this year, and we were able to recycle a lot of those. Also, the bookend through the Iowa City Public Library came up after the sale and picked through a bunch that they wanted. So another multi-beneficial use of the Rummage and Ramp.
And so, yeah, and that was my other question for you, is the items that are left over at the end. I understand that some of the nonprofits will get picks on the stuff that's left over, and then you've really limited the amount that actually ends up at the landfill.
Yeah, we do our best not to take anything to the landfill. There are exceptions, of course. We actually didn't have any couches left in 2008, but we had a couple in 2007 that were just done with.
Yeah.
2008, we had a couple of mattresses that went to the landfill, some desks that were in quite ill repair that we thought somebody might be able to use when we took them in, but that wasn't the case. So we do our best to get things to the agencies. They're at the end of the day, when the final sale is over, they're welcome to come pick through what they want. And it was pretty much the same thing as we started packing things up to take to Goodwill. Anyone walking through, we just kind of said, if you want anything, there's a donation jar over there, take what you like. So the point is really, by that point, we don't want to take it anywhere because we're tired from working all week, and we don't want it to go to the landfill. So.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us and letting us know all the details about the Rummage and the Ramp.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And as we run our closing credits today on the Community Voice, we're going to show you the most up-to-date dates and times for this year's Rummage and the Ramp, as well as the website and all the information you'll need in order to participate.
Community voice. I over city years, put up the bow. I over city years. I over city years.